This is Cashing Out on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, welcome into Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo. Another hour of the program starts right now. And we were treated to an incredible weekend in the NBA playoffs. I can't wait to dive into that. A little bit of baseball, some hockey coming up with VSiN's NHL expert Jonathan Davis here shortly as well. But the NBA playoffs so far this first round, especially more so in the Western Conference, has lived up to the hype, to the excitement. I can't wait for Monday's Game 4 between the Warriors and the Houston Rockets. I mean, you look at the Eastern Conference right now. Every series is either 3-1 or 3-0 as we wait for Game 4, Cleveland-Miami, right? But the Western Conference, I mean, these games have been dogfight after dogfight. Minimal blowouts, just great basketball. I can't wait. Let's look at Sunday's games before we dive into Houston Golden State, because we were treated to in that early window and things got lopsided late. We'll get to the big news surrounding Dame Lillard, of course, here momentarily. But we were treated to a couple of nail-biting photo finishes early. First, my Knicks. My goodness. What a fourth quarter comeback. Now, I know, look, let's address it. They put themselves in position to warrant a comeback after they blew the lead against Detroit. Third quarter was all Pistons, Knicks with the halftime lead going into it. But then in the fourth quarter, down, I believe, by as many as 9 at times in that fourth quarter, Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns never gave up. Look, I've had my gripes with Bridges, and offensively, I think he's been disappointing. Defensively, in this one, he was everything you could have asked for. Anunoby, Hart. Those guys did exactly what they were put on this constructed roster to do. And Karl Anthony Towns, the guy couldn't miss a three in the fourth quarter. It was unbelievable, right? I mean, there was one I vividly recall. He's a few feet to the right of the top of the key, and he's deep out there in no man's land, and bam, nothing but net with a man in his face. Like, Towns just had, if you were playing NBA Live 06, there would have been a ring of fire around him or something, right? I mean, the guy had the hot hand, could not miss. Jalen Brunson, some majorly clutch shots in and of his own right down the stretch. And the New York Knicks squeaking out the 1-point win in Motown, 94-93. Brunson's final line, 32, 11 dimes. Towns, 27, 9 boards. Josh Hart, how about him? Always does a bit of everything. 14 points, 10 boards, 5 dimes for Hart and those Knicks starters. Cunningham had a phenomenal game, triple-double, 25, 10, and 10. Hardaway had 14 and a whole lot of controversy there at the end, getting pushed by Josh Hart. Officiating crew comes out, says that they missed it. It was an incorrect no call, that it should have been a foul called, and then Hardaway, of course, would have headed to the free throw line and things could have been different. I'm sorry. I'm not sitting here, sympathizing or empathizing over a little bit of physicality on a loose ball coming off a rebound, I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and feel bad about the way that game ended, because I thought that the Knicks were just absolutely tenacious, and, that Hardaway fadeaway three-pointer at the end, a tenth of a second left, off balance, falling backwards. I'm not upset about it. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, look, the Pistons had so many opportunities. They didn't capitalize off of them. Hart closed out. Did Hardaway have a place to land? We can discuss that. But it was an off-balance, ugly shot from the start. And I'm not going to sit here and cry that he should have been rewarded with a tenth of a second left and an off-balance, ugly shot with a trip to the line. Because imagine how bad of an ending that would have been if that's how Detroit got home. Because Hardaway, takes a shot that's not going in and gets a call. I mean, that's not how you win a playoff basketball game. Knicks made shots down the stretch. Detroit didn't. To me, it's that simple. Now, look, I'll say this about the Knicks. I also don't trust them in the next round. I wouldn't trust either one of these teams against Boston in the next round. So I'm not sitting here delusional saying, the Knicks are going to the championship. No. I think the Knicks showed heart in that fourth quarter. I think the Knicks deserved to win that game. I think whoever was to win the series is going to get waxed by Boston in the next round. And that's because the Knicks don't have depth. 5 points off the bench in this one. Detroit outscored them, 27-5 off the bench. You know, another team that doesn't have depth, and therefore I have a lot of concerns about, the LA Lakers. You look at their loss to Minnesota, a game in which they led after 3 quarters. Second straight game in Minnesota, this Lakers team. You talk about depth, they've run out of gas. 20 points, fourth quarter, game 3. 19 points, fourth quarter, game 4. Minnesota outscores them 32-19 in the final period. LeBron James gave them all that he could. 27 points on 18 trips to the line. 12 boards, 8 assists. Luka, 38 points. Hachimura and Reeves, you know, they combined for another 40. The rest of the team, after those 4 guys, combined for 8 points. Finney-Smith had 6. Jackson Hayes had 2 in his 4 minutes of action before getting hurt. Now with the Hayes injury, the Lakers didn't have size or depth in this one. I mean, how are you going to compete when you don't have a big man? Hachimura is forced to play the 5 against the team with Rudy Gobert and Jules Randle. And you're leaning on Dorian Finney-Smith for 41 minutes. And you don't even trust your other bench pieces. That's the issue with how the Lakers were constructed. They have the star power, but if you can't even trust a guy who I think is competent, like Gabe Vincent, to go out there for more than 7 minutes, then what are we doing? LeBron James cannot play 46 out of 48 minutes. And I love JJ Redick, and he's done a sensational job this season, right? And he's had to overcome a lot on and off the court. A, he's a first-year head coach. B, you're in the market that is Los Angeles that comes with pressure and expectations and the need to win right out of the gate. C, you got LeBron and Bronny, so you're dealing with all the extracurricular and the media activity surrounding Bronny. D, you got the AD for Luka trade, which was a media circus. And obviously the Lakers were on the right side of that, so you're not dealing with a lot of controversy or backlash, but it's still headlines left and right nonstop. And E, the Palisades fires back in January, where JJ Redick loses his place. I don't know if it was temporary, permanent, but his residency where he was staying after coming to LA to be the coach of the Lakers. Burns down. He's got to find a new place. The Lakers cancel home games. Schedule's changing. You're scrambling. Basketball's nearly impossible to focus on. This was a season where the Lakers, to their credit, won 50 games and were up against a heck of a lot. But at the end of the day, LeBron's not getting any younger, and you have to continue to put LeBron James in positions to win. And they did that with the Luka deal, and they tried to do that with the Mark Williams deal, but that falls through, and now you're left with nothing down low. And the Lakers came out of that situation. They came out of the trade with Dallas winners, but they came out of that situation not well equipped to make a title run. Not well equipped to go up against an Oklahoma City and potentially a future round. Not well equipped to go up against any team with dominant forceful big men. And I don't even think Rudy Gobert is dominant anymore. But him and Jules Randle and the depth that the Wolves have with guys like Naz Reid and Alexander Walker coming off the bench, DiVincenzo included, Minnesota just wasn't the right matchup for the Lakers. And I read it wrong, and I think you read it wrong, and everyone I spoke to read it wrong. And I feel like everyone just kind of penciled LA on into the second round for a Lakers-Warriors matchup. And I thought I was the edgy one on the other side because I said Lakers-Rockets. But the read was here in front of us the entire time. And Minnesota, who albeit they were the 6th seed, a team that was just a game behind the Lakers in the standings. I mean, you know how bunched in those Western Conference standings were, right? Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, all 50 wins. Minnesota, 49 wins. 1 game behind them. The Wolves are the better team right now. They're deeper. They're better, more well-balanced. And Anthony Edwards, my goodness, 43 points. How you doing? They're also a lot younger, and that helped them down the stretch because LeBron was gassed. And for everything good JJ Redick's done and all the incredible, moments he's had as a first-year head coach, you ask LeBron James to play 46 minutes in a game and all 24 in the second half, and you're not setting him or your team up for success. Trust your reserves. I know the Jackson Hayes injury threw a wrench in things, but LeBron James should not have been asked to go out there on the wrong side of 40 years old and play 46 out of 48 minutes. It's a recipe for failure. And now, with one more loss, the Lakers are going to be going home in what will ultimately be viewed as a disappointing season. That 3-1 lead's crucial. Minnesota has it. Golden State's looking for it. And I'll tell you what, I think this is a great spot to come back in on the Rockets. I thought Houston outplayed Golden State for a majority of that game 3. And I don't know if it was jitters or nerves or youth or inexperience, but Steph Curry took over when it was crunch time. And it was reminiscent of a game 1 situation all over again, where the Warriors just, looked like they were better equipped for the moment than Houston. And the Rockets got out of the gate well, outperformed them really the first 30 minutes or so of game time, and Steph closed out. Just like game 2. The jitters and the nerves are gone. Now you've seen what a game at the Warriors arena, at the Warriors house is like, and I think Houston's going to answer the call. I think this is a series that's destined to go the distance. I think we're headed for 7 here, and catching 3 in a hook with Houston is a play that I like because I think the Rockets are likely to win this game outright. I'll be transparent. I'm not playing this because I've got my Rockets futures ticket, so I've got no need to double down in this spot. But if you don't have any prior action in the series, I like the Rockets game 4. Folks, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account that's built for bettors. It ensures that all gambling transactions get approved. That means no usage fees, no minimums, earn cashback rewards, and get 100% approval for all betting deposits. So sign up today. edgeboost.bet. Use the promo code CASH, my favorite word, your favorite word, deposit $25, and Edge Boost will match the deposit. That's edgeboost.bet. Talking hockey with everyone's favorite NHL expert, Jonathan Davis, VSiN's own. Up next, it's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues here on VSiN with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you into your Monday morning, starting your week off the right way, and with some thrilling conclusions to these Stanley Cup playoff games over the weekend. Good amount of overtime hockey Saturday in Ontario, Sunday in Edmonton. Who better to break it all down with than our NHL expert here at VSiN, our friend Jonathan Davis, joining us now on the Progressive Guest Line. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at West Coast Hockey. That's HKY, for hockey. And Jonathan, how are you, my friend? What is your immediate reaction to that wild finish in Edmonton? 3 straight unanswered goals by the Oilers.
It's absolutely remarkable what's gone on. This is a Los Angeles Kings, and for anybody who missed it on Sunday, the Edmonton Oilers were down 3-1 going to the third period, tied the game with under a minute to go, and then won it in the dying, I think about it with a little over a minute to go in overtime with a power play goal. So they erased their second multi-goal deficit in the series, their second third period multi-goal deficit. It would have been 3 multi-goal deficits in this series if not for what happened in Game 2 in Los Angeles when Edmonton, came back from 4-0 and 5-2, tied the game late and only to lose it with a minute to go. But remarkable what happened tonight. And, for the Los Angeles Kings, Joe, this is a team that going into Game 3 had never lost a game in regulation when scoring 3 goals or more. They were 41-0-2. After Game 3, they were then 41-1-2. And after Game 4, now 41-1-3 are the LA Kings when scoring 3 goals or more with a 4-3 final tonight. So this is an Edmonton team that, for those who don't know, eliminated the Kings in the last 3 playoff years. And down 2-0 quite, the Kings looked dominant in those first 2 games. But, man, what we saw, the way Game 4 ended in Edmonton, now the series shifts back to LA for a game on Tuesday. As they say, it's not a series until you lose one at home. I don't necessarily believe in momentum from game to game, but with the history between these two, it's got to be inside the Kings' heads.
I mean, if you're LA, how are you not in your own head right now? Even the win Game 1 was a hideous one. What were they up 4-0, and then was it 5-2? And Edmonton ties it at 5-5, and the Kings, sure, they escaped 6-5 victors in that one, but I mean, they've shown even in a game where they won that they can't hold a lead, and then they get absolutely obliterated Friday, 7-4 in Edmonton. They blow a 3-1 lead here in this game 4. I mean, they have to be in their own heads. The series is a pick 'em 10 cents each way on the live market now. Jonathan, you and I were both on LA going into the series, but are you leaning Edmonton now that it's essentially a 3-game series moving forward?
Yeah, no, I would lean Edmonton right now, but the value's not necessarily there at minus 110. Look, even tonight, Joe, I didn't play LA to win the game. I played LA's team total over 2.5 which cashed, and it was a juicy price at minus 160, but that was more a play on Edmonton's goaltending that I didn't trust. And then Calvin Pickard, the Oilers' backup goalie, who's taken over in this series, ended up holding fort the rest of the way. But I'll stay away from the sides the remainder of this series and continue to enjoy the prop plays, especially Adrian Kempe of the Los Angeles Kings, who we didn't cash on his goal tonight, but we had cashed on both of his shots on goal prop of over 2.5 and his alt total at over 3.5.
I love it. Jonathan, let's get into the Monday slate now because you've got a slew of plays. Only 2 games, but it's funny. You quipped that it's not a series till you lose one at home. Home teams 0-3 in the state of Florida now. The Panthers hosting the Lightning for Game 4 after dropping Game 3 in the greater Miami area. What do you like here in this Tampa-Florida game?
I'm going to go back to the props. It's kind of boring, but look, these two team sides I think are very evenly matched. For Tampa, they're going to get back Brandon Hagel, who got suspended in game number 3 in this series. I'm going to go on the Florida side, Sam Bennett, who's their second-line center, plays power play time. He's had a point in every game. You can still find his over half a point, Joe, at plus money. That to me is an absolute given. I saw that at Bet365. They had it at plus money. Some other sites did not. So, grab it while you can at that plus money. Jake Gensel, the Tampa Bay Lightning, loves playing against Sergei Bobrovsky, the Florida Panthers goalie. And that dates back to the years in the playoffs. He's got 7 goals in 8 games against Sergei Bobrovsky and 2 in this series. So, again, we're going to target him for an anytime goal. Braden Point of the Tampa Bay Lightning, 7 goals in 14 games against Bobrovsky. He's also got 2 goals in this series. So we'll target him as well for an anytime goal. So those are the couple of the props that I'm looking at right now in that game.
How about Florida to score first here? Because you've got a little action in each of the games Monday on which team you think will score first. I know you've got a bit of a system on picking a team to score first. You want to dive into that a little bit?
Absolutely. And thanks for reminding me on that, Joe. So the system goes like this. Play the team that lost the previous game to score the first goal in the game. It's 18-4 through the games played on Sunday night. So, hey, I'm not going to buck that trend. It was, I think it cashed in all the games on Sunday. And I think it was, it cashed in everything on Saturday as well. But 18-4, a remarkable number. So I'll play Florida to score the first goal. If you'll get a really good price if you want to play Florida to score the first goal in the first period. But I'm not going to get too greedy because we've had some slow starts in games. I'll play Florida to score the first goal of the game.
Yeah, I believe that this system cashed out in the Montreal-Washington game, but I believe it might have waited till the second period to do so there. How about Avs-Dallas? Are you going back with Colorado coming off the win? Are you going back to the Stars here to score first?
I'm going to definitely go back to the Stars here to score first, and then we'll focus on Nathan McKinnon's shots on goal prop at over. We're probably going to have to play it at over 4.5, and then also play Nathan McKinnon to score a goal. He's got 4 goals in the series. I think he's got a goal. He's got a goal in every game in the series. So for me, those are the 2 plays right now that I would highlight. And I may add something on later in the day, but for now, those are the 2 that I'm focusing on. And just check out my write-up at VSiN.com, which will come out at about 2 p.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Pacific.
I love it, Jonathan. Hey, real quick, while we're on this game, Avs-Stars, Game 5, has this been a better series so far than you expected? I know that Dallas had home ice and the higher seed, but it seemed like a lot of people thought it was a foregone conclusion Colorado would make pretty quick work of the Stars. They lost, 7, 8 in a row to end the season and kind of backed their way in. But we're tied here at 2 going into Game 5. What are your thoughts on this series now after watching 4 contests?
Well, 2 things. One, definitely I'm surprised because Dallas is missing their best defenseman, Miro Heiskanen, and here's a guy that usually plays close to half the game. They've done a really good job, in splitting this series so far. So that's one thing. But the other story in this series, it's the phenomenal story of Colorado captain Gabe Landeskog, who scored his first goal, I believe, in about 1,037 days. Missed 3 years of hockey, recovering from a knee injury. Played his first game in 3 years in the playoffs, in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He played his first NHL game, scores a goal in his second NHL game this year. That to me is just an incredible story of determination for a guy who doesn't need the paycheck, but just wanted to get himself back and work very hard to do so. Yeah, 3 years it's pretty impressive that he never gave up.
That's remarkable stuff. Jonathan, as always, appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much for hopping on, joining us on the program.
Always a pleasure, Joe. Have a great night and a great morning.
Make sure you follow him on Twitter at West Coast Hockey. That's VSiN, NHL, and overall hockey expert, right? Not limited to the NHL. We were talking a lot of 4 nations with Jonathan back when that was going on. So VSiN hockey expert, Jonathan Davis, joining us over on the progressive guest line. These Stanley Cup playoffs have been absolutely sensational, folks. The hits are harder, the stakes are higher. It's playoff hockey at its best. So stay ahead of every matchup with sharp betting analysis from VSiN's hockey experts like Jonathan over on the VSiN Watch app. And make sure that you're betting smarter with VSiN Pro. Right now, folks, full VSiN Pro access through August 1st, just $59. That's access to everything that we do, saving you well over a third off of our monthly price. Sign up now. You'll get instant access to a daily recap of best bets from all of our hosts and guests, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 live video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app, plus our Kentucky Derby betting guide. It drops April 30th in just a couple days with previews and best bets on the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. Every sport, every edge, one fantastically low price. Sign up now, vsin.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Coming up next, all the draft news that you've been dying for after the weekend we just had. We'll talk Shedeur Sanders, 2026 first overall pick props, and more. Joe DeLeon, college football analyst from A to Z Sports, joins us. It's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues right here on VSiN with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late hours of your Sunday night right on into your Monday morning. And with the conclusion of this weekend's NFL draft, who better to bring into the program to break it all down with than our friend, college football and draft analyst from A to Z Sports, half of the Ruffino and Joe show, Joe DeLeon, joining the show to break down the draft. And Joe, look, there's so many odds I want to get to. Rookie of the year, props for some of the big players at each position, even the number 1 overall pick in 2026, because people just, can't help themselves. There's no patience. They can't wait to actually watch these guys play next season. But before we do that, I do have to ask your opinion. I mean, nothing betting related necessarily, although, hey, I did have a little 12-1 long shot ticket on him to go 9th overall. Shedeur dropping to the 5th round, man. I mean, what's the rationale behind that, in your opinion?
By the way, I just have to point out, not that long ago, an hour ago, I taped a 2026 mock draft video. So, yes, I've already turned the page. To talk about what happened here, though, this circumstance with Shedeur Sanders, it's been wild to keep track of. I think that there is naturally a lot of wild speculation that's being thrown out there. I think from now until the start of the season, mostly over the next week, we're going to get a lot of different anonymous sources sharing how certain things went during the pre-draft meeting, how he came off. What the current rumors are is that he took a phone call during the meeting and didn't hang up the phone call. Another rumor that was around on Twitter was apparently he was listening to music during the interview. I have no idea if this was intentional. I have no idea if he thinks that he can get away with this stuff. Whatever it was, it pissed off enough teams that they didn't feel like they wanted to waste time with it. But I think it's a lot deeper than that. I think that a lot of these teams are generally were concerned with how Shedeur Sanders is going to handle the pressure of being his own man. Has anyone yelled at Shedeur Sanders since his time when he was in high school? Deion Sanders, that wasn't his dad. Deion Sanders was his coach in high school, at Jackson State, and at Colorado. I can't imagine that anyone on those coaching staffs has really yelled at Shedeur Sanders without his dad chiming in. And we see this all the time with media responses for things that happen on the field. Deion Sanders is the quote that we always hear. It's not Shedeur Sanders. So I think NFL teams are uncertain if he's going to be able to be the face of a franchise without his dad looming over his shoulder. But the other part about all of this is that the circus of attention that comes with it. I think a lot of teams did not want to draft him in the first or second or even third rounds, because if you drafted him early and he doesn't start, he doesn't play, he ends up getting cut in a couple of years, it is going to be the biggest negative headline for weeks on every single show, on this show, on Stephen A. Smith's show, on First Take, whatever. They're going to be talking about it. Nobody wants to deal with the negative publicity that would come with it if it didn't work out, because there's so much vitriol that is really thrown at people that speak negatively on Deion Sanders and Shedeur and the entire Colorado football program. So there's just so many elements here that caused this whole thing to collapse and to fall apart the way that it did.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a loaded situation. One thing I don't think anyone can dispute is his talent. And you can sit around and argue whether you think he's the second best quarterback or the third best quarterback or whatever. He's better than Dylan Gabriel. So for the Browns to go QB third round and go Gabriel only to come back and take Sanders, I kind of thought was a little nonsensical once we got to that point. But Joe, as we look at these offensive rookie of the year odds, Sanders, maybe the shortest shot that a fifth-round pick has ever been. He's the 8th shot at 19-1. You've got Genty, the favorite, 2-1, then Cam Ward plus 230. This is interesting. Travis Hunter plus 750. I think that's kind of nuts because I foresee him, and I have no intel, but I would say 25 to 35% of their offensive snaps he'll be a part of. I think he's going to be predominantly a D-back. Anyone on this list? I mean, is it the obvious answer? Is it Genty up top? Is there anyone down the line that's got some value? Maybe, I don't know, a Tyler Warren at 30-1, although it's tough for tight ends. What are your thoughts, offensive rookie of the year?
Man, I'm kind of blown away. This is the first time I'm actually seeing the full board here. I'm Tyler Shuck at 12-1 is gross to look at. That is not going to happen.
Is that silly or what?
I don't even know if he plays. Like, what do we do? Well, this is, I think, a really good portrayal, Joe, of how this offensive class this year wasn't very good. There aren't a lot of good options. And I kept saying this every time I came on your show, is that like, there's not a lot of good offensive playmakers. It's going to be hard to come by. I really like Omarion Hampton at 12-1. And I look at all the guys that were on that graphic that was thrown up on the screen. They're all on teams that are still figuring themselves out for the most part. Omarion Hampton goes to the Chargers. He is the embodiment of Harbaugh ball. He is exactly what he looks for in running backs. And when he's got a guy that he can lean on and he can give the ball to for 20, 25 plus carries and then have Najee Harris to also pound the rock alongside him, I think that they're going to run it so aggressively at their opponents. Their passing game's pretty good. They didn't really truly bolster their receiving room this offseason. I think that they are trying to play true to what Harbaugh wants to do. I think Omarion Hampton, that's the best pick because he's in the best situation for a team that's competing for the playoffs, that thinks that they can maybe compete for the AFC Championship, and he is going to be integral for them having that success.
And their run blocking in LA is pretty damn strong. So Hampton going in there. I like that. 16-1, by the way, Hampton, rookie of the year. I think Shuck at 12-1 is an absolute joke. I mean,
stupid.
I don't get that pick. I'd rather run Spencer Rattler out there than Shuck. I mean, this kid, to me, he's like Brandon Whedon all over again. Have we not learned from DiCaprio? Stay away from the 26-year-old, right? I mean, what a joke. Defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter on our Giants. Really short favorite, plus 250. Then there's $5 of separation. Hunter comes in plus 750. Then the board moves down a bit. I think Hunter at plus 750 would be worth a shot. And you can also, for Hunter to get 2+ interceptions, it's plus money. 2 interceptions plus money. What do you think? Where do you think Hunter fits in to this Jacksonville team? More as a D-back, more as a receiver? Thoughts on defensive rookie of the year?
Yeah. So James Gladstone, the general manager, by the way, I implore anybody who didn't listen to his presser after drafting Travis Hunter, I want to run through a wall listening to just like the philosophical
you liked it? I thought it was really weird.
What do you mean? That was awesome. What do you do? Give it. Come on, this is football, Joe. He was talking about breaking boundaries, breaking barriers, doing something that has never been done before. It got a little philosophical
for me. It got a little talking in circles here.
This is football, Joe. This is football, man. This is intense. Yeah. This isn't all fun and games, but I love
They're a little weird in Jacksonville.
Okay, all right. My point is, though, is that there's an intent right now that they're going to let him do both things. So I actually wouldn't bet him to win offensive or defensive rookie of the year. I don't think that it doesn't mean that he can't win either award, but I think that because he's splitting time, his contributions aren't going to be that of a typical starting receiver and that of a typical starting defensive back. I love the 2+ interceptions bet that you just pointed out. I would absolutely take that. But I think that because he's splitting time at both things, he might end up having like an 800-yard receiving year and 3 interceptions, which if there was just an overall rookie of the year award, it would go to him. But it's going to go to somebody else who has better production. I'm keeping this one simple. I know that there's a lot of really good defensive players that we can turn to, but I'm going with the guy that is going to have an impact right now and the guy that I know is going to improve and get better every single week because he literally just did that this past year. I'm talking about Abdul Carter with our New York Giants. I think he steps right in that already it seems crowded, but loaded defensive line that got better by adding Darius Alexander as well in this draft class. He's going to be freed up. He's going to get a lot of one-on-one situations. This whole rookie year is going to be a feeling out period for the NFL, and a lot of offensive coordinators that are hubristic that think, oh, it's just a rookie. We can handle him one-on-one, and he's going to light things up. He's going to be a 12+ sack guy, and a 12+ sack guy like we just saw with Jared Verse is good enough to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh, wow. I mean, Carter's coming in at 8+ sacks, -110. If you want to go 10, it's 3-1, 11 sacks plus 550, 12 sacks is plus 1,000, 10-1.
I'm taking Carter. That.
Wow.
I'm taking that.
I love that, Joe. Hey, we've got a minute left. I want to get to 2 more things. Let's be quick. A little would you rather. Would you rather Ashton Genty 1,100+ yards -110 or 7+ touchdowns -135?
7+ touchdowns, because I think that he is going to be, as we've seen, type of guy gets enough carries, playing enough football games that he's going to have enough home run long touchdowns that he's going to get over that 7 number. I think that's totally doable.
I'm with you. I said it Thursday night on draft night. I said I like the touchdown prop better than the yards. 20 seconds. Number 1 pick. Would you rather Arch Manning 2-1 or Lenora Sellers 30-1? Which ticket would you rather have?
Lenora Sellers. I don't think Arch is going to declare. From everything that I've heard, he is not going to declare. He is going to stay at Texas for another season.
That would be why. I wonder what would happen to the ticket in that case. If it would be a loser or if it would be a push, if it would be void if Manning didn't declare for the draft. Joe, as always, great stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Joe DeLeon. Up next, more cashing out, more picks, more winners with me, Joe Ceraulo.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, getting you ready for your Monday morning here on the program. And we've got some best bets for Monday's games on the diamond to get to here shortly. Great stuff from some terrific guests this hour. Jonathan Davis breaking it all down on the ice for us, especially fresh off of that wild comeback by Edmonton to win it 4-3 in overtime with a second OT fast approaching. The Oilers in the power play say no. It was fun breaking that down with Jonathan Davis, as well as Monday's action on the ice, Colorado and Dallas. The Stars really fighting off the Avs hard. And then, of course, great NFL draft recap with our buddy Joe DeLeon right there. But we've got 2 NBA playoff games. We've got 2 Stanley Cup playoff games and 8 games on the diamond to get to. So why don't we get into some best bets? It's time for the VSiN Daily Morning Bets. We are starting off in the NBA. Now, I'm putting out a disclaimer with this first. This is a strong lean for me. It's not a best bet because I'm not playing it personally. I've got my futures ticket. You all at this point probably know about it. If you don't, I've got the Rockets in pocket, 27-1 to win the Western Conference. My play there, try to get this series to a game 7 and hedge kind of from that point on. But Houston, 27-1 to win the West, is in pocket. I'm waiting for hedging opportunities. I've said this before, and I'll reiterate. No, I don't think the Rockets are going to win the West. I just thought that was grossly mispriced for a 2 seed in any conference to be the 7th shot on the board. I also did think the Rockets would beat Golden State. So I wanted to hold on to that ticket. And the way things have gone in the Lakers-Wolves series, I think Houston could beat Minnesota in the next round. So this is a team that if they get past Golden State, all of a sudden I think might have a feasible path to the conference finals. So I'm going to wait to hedge. I'm going to wait to do anything else. But in game 4, my play, if I didn't have a futures ticket here, would actually be on the Rockets, plus 3.5. I think game 3 and game 1 draw a lot of parallels to one another. Houston's a young, inexperienced, but incredibly talented team. And game 1, I think they just got overmatched out of the gate by Golden State. Game 3, they got overmatched late. Now, the similarity there, it was their first game, not of the series, but first game on the road. And I think their youth and inexperience showed when they started hot, and then the adversity crept in, and Steph got hot, and the Warriors came back, and Houston didn't know how to react. Game 2 was a pretty wire-to-wire win for the Rockets. I think game 4, they might react similarly. We saw them game 3 come out of the gate hot. In game 4, if that's the case, I think that they'll remain hot. I think they're better equipped. They know what it's like now having to play a road game in Golden State in the postseason. So I think just like game 2 was a major bounce-back spot for Houston, game 4 will be as well. And I like the Rockets catching 3.5 in this game, even though I'm not playing it. Now let's get to what I'm actually betting. Let's get to the diamond. Starting with the Cleveland Guardians money line. Got a minus 120 at home against Minnesota. This could be a pitcher's duel. And you heard our terrific guest Colby Conway from Fantasy Alarm come on cashing out and give out under 8 in this spot. And Colby might be onto something, right? How about Gavin Williams and Bailey Ober both having absolutely tremendous numbers against each opposing lineup? Cleveland Guardians hitters against Ober, just 8 for 69, 21 strikeouts. That's a 116 average and a 30.4% K rate. Minnesota, on the flip side, just 4 for 23 against Gavin Williams. Smaller sample size, but still just a $174 average, both well below the Mendoza line. Now, my reasoning for taking Cleveland is, A, I think they have a more consistent lineup when it comes to putting the ball in play. This is not a very strikeout-heavy team, especially on their home field. And Ober this year has not had the strikeout numbers we saw a season ago. If it's a low-scoring game and it's have each guy go 5-6 strong and hand it to the bullpens, not only do I trust Cleveland's lineup more to generate scoring chances and put the ball in play, but I trust their bullpen a hell of a lot more than Minnesota's. And it's a bit of a bounce-back spot for the Guards. They've lost 2 in a row, split the doubleheader, lost the back end Saturday, lost Sunday. Red Sox blew them out, 13-3? So they've lost 2 in a row. It's a team that doesn't let a lot of losing streaks compile. They're at home where they are 8-4, started 8-2, now they're 8-4, and Minnesota just finds way after way to lose on the road. 3-10 on the road. We've seen home teams be successful at over a 60% clip in baseball this year. Give me the Guardians. I just think that this is a bit mispriced, and I get it with the starting pitcher factor, both having success. When you look beyond that, you look at lineups, you look at defense, you look at bullpens. To me, Cleveland wins all 3 of those head-to-head matchups with Minnesota. So minus 20 cents, sign me up for the Guardians money line in this one. Now, the next game, we're shortening up because this is more about the starting pitchers and less about the rest of the team. Tigers, Astros, give me Detroit first 5 money line at minus 110. Current Astros against Jack Flaherty are just 15 for 71. That is a 211 clip But while that's it's a good average for Flaherty, right? It's good pitching. Here's what really jumps out. Not the 211 average, the 254 slugging percentage. Astros hitters have just 2 extra base hits against Flaherty. 1 double, 1 triple, and no home runs. He's been fantastic at keeping the ball in the ballpark against Houston. And let's face it, lately, he hasn't gotten good run support, right? Detroit's been shut out back-to-back starts. 5-0 and 2-0, back-to-back losses for Flaherty. But they just swept Baltimore in 2 days, 3 games, 2 days, like Cleveland, Boston, right? They had that doubleheader Saturday because Friday had some really gnarly Midwestern weather. 17 runs in those 3 games against the Orioles for Detroit, nearly 6 per game. The Astros just struggled with the Royals, even though Hunter Brown was able to salvage that series finale on Sunday. But Houston struggled with KC. They're traveling back home. Detroit meeting them there on Monday. And I think Jack Flaherty going up against Ronel Blanco, who has allowed multiple runs in 4 out of his 5 starts this season. I think Flaherty has the edge. The Tigers' offense waking up as well has the edge in this one. Give me Detroit first 5 money line, -110. Folks, want to remind you all that our best bets are brought to you by our friends over at G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. And G-Bank's up in the ante with up to a $750 bonus for new G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. First, new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from the account opening receive a $250 bonus. Additionally, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the 30 days of your account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus. That's potentially $750 back in your wallet. Apply now, vsin.com/gbank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions do, of course, apply. One more best bet for you Monday on the Diamond, and we're going to a pitcher prop. How about JP Sears, the Athletics, over 17.5 outs, -105. I was looking strikeouts, I was debating strikeouts, but JP Sears has been such a consistent innings eater for this Athletics team. How about he's gone over this in 3 of his 5 starts this year? All 3 of his road starts, he stayed under both times in Sacramento. We've talked numerous times about how that's such a hitter's haven. It's turned out to be that AAA park in Sacktown. But JP Sears over this mark, all 3 road starts. Current Rangers against Sears, a modest 28 for 118. It's a 237 clip. But how about this? Only 28 strikeouts. It's a 23.7% K rate. So what does that mean? Lots of contact, not a lot of base hits, low pitch count. Get us 18 outs for a 4th time in 4 tries on the road this season. JP Sears over 17.5 outs at -105. And that'll do it for the VSiN Daily Morning Bets. Did have a couple of opinions about the games on the ice, more so Avs, Stars. I think Colorado, this might be where they break away this series, right? If they win Game 5 at Dallas, and I'm not calling it a best bet, you got to lay 40 cents on the money line. So I don't know if, I'm not much of a hockey bettor. 40 cents for me, too much to lay in a series that's tied 2-2. But Colorado, coming off that 4-0 win at home, I feel like they're going to go into Dallas, Game 5. They've already won in Dallas, Game 1 this series. Take it and then end it in 6. But that's a lean on the ice, not a best bet. And that'll do it for this edition of Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo. But folks, the great content right here at VSiN never ends. Don't forget to start your Monday with VSiN by the books. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis. You want more breakdown of the Guardians bullpen? Who better to give it to you than former Cleveland pitcher Jensen Lewis? 7 a.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss those two. Then a numbers game with our friends Gil Alexander and Kelly Bidlin at 10 a.m. Eastern. I believe Kelly's back from his trip to Turks and Caicos. I'm sure he'll tell you all about it. And how about the debut of the new and improved Money Moves? Stormy Bonantoni alongside Jonathan Von Tobel, her new permanent co-host at noon Eastern. You don't want to miss it. I know I'm not going to miss it. I'll be watching it or listening to it on the road driving from LA back to Vegas. So tune in at noon Eastern for that. Special thanks to our great producer, Adam Bernard, the rest of our team, Johnny, Jarens, Alexis, and Evan. Couldn't have put this program together without them. That does it for Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo. We'll do it again, Domani.